Yo, what's good YouTube? It's your boy Elijah here, and in today's video we're going to be talking about why East Africans dominate so much when it comes to distance running. Since 1991, right, the men's winner at the Boston Marathon has either been Kenyan or Ethiopian 26 out of the 29 times. And when you look at the Olympics, right, these past 10 years, yeah, 4 out of 5 of the people who've won the Olympic men's marathon have been East African, with Eliud Kipchoge winning it once in 2016 and again in 2020. So looking at all this data, right, I started to ask myself, what makes East Africans so gifted when it comes to distance running to the point where they're out competing the whole competition? You get what I'm trying to say? So I'm going to break this video down into 3 parts, talking about their genetics, talking about their diet, and I'm going to be talking about the psychological advantage that they have when it comes to distance running. My bad guys, I forgot to mention that I'm going to be talking about their training as well. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. I was reading an article, right, and they were talking about the Kaleji tribe. If I mispronounced that, I'm sorry, innit, right? They pointed out that one of the reasons for their remarkable endurance abilities is because they live in a high altitude region. They go on to say that people living in thin air for generations have developed acclimatization to hypoxia. For those who don't know what hypoxia is, it's basically a state in which oxygen is not available in sufficient amounts at the tissue level to maintain adequate homeostasis, and that living in a high altitude area is linked with lowered oxygen concentration. To compensate for the lack of oxygen now, right, the body now has to increase the number of erythrocytes that transport oxygen. Those who don't know what erythrocytes means, it's basically just another way of saying red blood cells, which at lower altitudes creates advantageous conditions to increase compound aerobic capacity. So basically, right, the Kalejis are able to transform oxygen into energy in a more efficient manner. So one of the authors from one of the articles I was reading hypothesized that the superior running economy of Kenyan runners is due to their slender limbs with low masses, which allows them to run using minimal energy from swinging the limbs. And for those who don't know what running economy means, it's basically the amount of oxygen your body needs to run at a certain pace. So the less oxygen you consume per distance, the better your running economy is. A study, right, was done on untrained adolescent Kenyan boys from the Nandi tribe, right? And they concluded that their body dimensions corresponded with findings in elite Kenyan runners. It was pointed out that because East Africans generally have thin lower legs, right, it has helped contribute to the excellent running economy, allowing them to be in a league of their own. Now let's go on to talk about their diet. Now it's believed by researchers that the routine diet of Kenyans and Ethiopians, which is typically high in carbohydrates and low in fat, plays a massive role in their success. The staple food for most of these East African countries are rice, injera, potatoes, ugali, porridge, kidney beans, cabbage, and chapati. And they don't believe in eating any processed foods. Eliud Kipchoge, the world's fastest marathon runner, said in an interview that he starts his day off with tea and a slice of bread. And after breakfast, he has a cup of tea again with bread, banana, and sometimes egg. Now let's talk about training. On a typical day, Mo Farah wakes up between 7 to 7:30 and has breakfast. After breakfast, he starts his training, kicking the day off with a 10 to 12 mile morning run. He told Men's Health that he goes to the gym a few times per week. He's doing Romanian deadlifts, squats, and some dumbbell work. But he told Men's Health that he doesn't lift anything too heavy. He said when you're tired towards the end of a race, strength helps you maintain form and run straight. That's right. Now, when it comes to a lot of East African runners, right, they weren't blessed with having a silver spoon. Now, while a lot of us, man, in the West, right, we're going to school with the freshest J's or the most cleanest by Air Forces, a lot of these guys, right, when they're going to school barefoot, or sometimes, if they're lucky, they might go to school in sandals. And that definitely does something to your psyche, knowing that there are people in the world here that are blessed with having shoes, and I'm out here having to go to school barefooted. You get what I'm trying to say? So that definitely does something to your psyche, and you just want more in your life. You know, you want more change in your life, so you're ready to go above and beyond to change the circumstances for you and your loved ones. You get what I'm trying to say? Francis Ngannou is another great example of this. You know, a lot of rappers like to say that they come from the mud, but if you look at Francis Ngannou's story, yeah, broski really comes from the mud. Like, his life here could be turned into a whole movie because it's actually mad inspirational. So I feel like when you're in such a poor environment anyway, it just lights a different fire in you. But I read somewhere, right, that one of the advantages that a lot of these guys have because they're barefooted all the time is that they're able to connect with the ground more and move more efficiently as your brain responds to the senses on the soles of your feet. And when you see them run, their feet almost look like they're barely touching the floor. This almost perfect form comes in part from growing up running everywhere without shoes. But anyway guys, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Yeah.